Okay, so today we are tackling one of history's most dazzling and, most complicated figures, Sir Walter Raleigh. This guy was the absolute definition of an Elizabethan-era rock star, an explorer, a poet, and, as we'll see, a man accused of being a traitor.
And that really brings up the big question, right? How does someone who is the absolute favorite of the most powerful monarch in the world, Queen Elizabeth I, end up locked away in a prison, staring down an executioner? It's a story of incredible highs and some really devastating lows.
All right, let's get right into it. In this explainer, we're going to trace that exact path for you, from the glamour of the royal court and the wild adventures in the New World, all the way to the cold stone walls of a prison cell.
So, first things first. To really get Sir Walter Raleigh, you have to understand the time he lived in. He was what we'd call the quintessential Renaissance man, a person who just seemed to excel at everything he tried.
And I mean, just look at this list. He was an adventurer, charting totally unknown lands, a soldier fighting for his queen and country, a truly gifted writer and poet, and on top of all that, a slick courtier who knew exactly how to play the game of royal politics. The guy literally did it all. Okay, so how does a guy with all these talents actually make it big? Well, this is where Raleigh's star just completely took off. During the reign of Queen Elizabeth I, his ambition and his charm just launched him right to the very top.
Think about this. In just over a decade, what he pulled off was honestly staggering. In 1585, he's bankrolling the Roanoke colony in Virginia, which he named for the Virgin Queen, by the way. Smart move. By 1591, he's penning these passionate poems for her. And by 1596, he's publishing these incredible, thrilling stories of his own explorations.
And here's what's so fascinating. It wasn't just what he did, it was how he talked about it. He wasn't just exploring, he was selling a dream. Just listen to how he describes Guyana, a large, rich, and beautiful empire. He's painting you a picture, and he wants you to buy in. And that's the real kicker, right? This book, it wasn't just some travel journal. Nope, it was basically a glossy marketing brochure. Raleigh was a sharp operator with huge ambitions, and he used his writing to get investors excited about this land just overflowing with gold, ripe for the taking. But you know how these stories go. What goes up must come down. And Raleigh's fall from grace was fast, and it was brutal. His golden age was about to hit a brick wall.
So, why? What happened? Well, this slide tells you everything you need to know. Raleigh's entire career, his entire fortune, was tied to Queen Elizabeth. When she died and King James I came to power, everything changed. Raleigh was out, and the new king had him arrested for treason.
13 years. 13 years. Can you even imagine that? The world-traveling explorer, the celebrated poet, the Queen's favorite, now confined to the Tower of London. But you couldn't silence a mind like Raleigh's with just stone walls. In what has to be one of the most incredible acts of intellectual defiance ever, he used that time in prison to write his most massive work, The History of the World. Think about that. He's analyzing the rise and fall of empires and the nature of power, all while being a political prisoner himself. And that really brings us to what he left behind. Because even though his political career and his colonial dreams ended in tragedy, his power as a writer, that made sure he would never, ever be forgotten. Just take this opening line from his incredible poem, The Lie. It's so powerful, so direct. He's literally sending his soul out into the world on a mission to expose the truth. And what's driving that poem is this deep, profound sense of disillusionment. I mean, this is a man who saw the very height of power and the absolute depths of betrayal. So he uses his poetry to just rip into the hypocrisy and lies he saw all around him, from the church right up to the royal court.
And even in the stuff he wrote for his son, he left behind this very clear philosophy for how to live. And if you boil it all down, the big takeaway is his belief in a life guided by virtue. He stressed chasing knowledge, having real moral courage, and above all else, acting with total integrity.
Which brings us right back to where we started. Explorer, poet, traitor. So what was he? A flawed hero? An ambitious colonizer whose dreams just got too big? Or was he a brilliant, one-of-a-kind mind who was ultimately just a casualty of shifting political winds? His story doesn't give us any easy answers, and honestly, that's exactly what makes him so fascinating.